to start with our presenters in Act 2 now with Danee Hunzie, who hails from Kemmerer, Wyoming, home of JCPenney, home of lots of fossilized fish, not home of Danee anymore because she is the new Community Development and Independent Music Specialist for the Wyoming Arts Council. In her day job, Danee's passion for music and her love for Wyoming combine to help her bolster the live music scene in our state. I want Danee's job. She works every day with all the innovative musicians and outstanding hungry audiences across this state. She helps the musicians get their work out into the world. She helps local venues learn all about the Wyoming musicians they can book. And she helps sell it all based on the major economic benefits that we know accrue to communities with thriving live music scenes. Danee's credentials in the industry are great. In fact, today she is fresh off the plane from working the Academy of Country Music Awards in Las Vegas. From Vegas to Laramie, Danee is going to talk to us today about building communities through music. Please welcome Danee Hunzie.
Hello. I love that Peter said Kemmerer. It's Kemmer, and I love that extra in there. I also know that when you go to Vegas, some things get left behind, and on this trip it was my voice. So I guess that decided to stay in Vegas this time. So I apologize now if it gets a little raspy, but we will make it through it. And I guess on that note, let's do it. All right, so I always start off every presentation with that I grew up in Kemmerer, Wyoming, population 3,000, and the entire time I grew up, I hated that place. All I wanted to do was get out of it, and my parents told me that one day that would change. And you know what? It did change, but please don't ever tell them that they were right. Everything that I did in Kemmerer has shaped me into the human that I am today and the loves that I have. So I'd like to start with that. I love to be outside. Fly fishing is one of my favorite things. I love to be on the four-wheeler, camping, spending time with those people I love in the great outdoors that this wonderful state provides. One of the biggest benefits is my parents were both educators. So I got to spend June, July, and August outside traveling the world and going to music festivals. I was that little girl in the front row wearing my pink tutu with a hula hoop enjoying music. And that turned into the greatest fangirl, which maybe my parents are not so proud of today. But what I realized is being a fangirl doesn't pay the bills. It wasn't a job, unfortunately, going to concerts. So I decided I better go to school. I got my bachelor's in international studies and political science. I did my master's in education administration, specifically community development at UW, and I loved all of it. And you're probably wondering, what does that have to do with music? Absolutely nothing. But what I realized is that I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to live intentionally and do a job that I loved. And I realized doing that through community development, that you can use all of these drivers to bring people together. And for me, that was music. But I wasn't ready to give up on music. So I started to work for Cheyenne Frontier Days. I met a gentleman who was looking for the restroom. Be nice to everybody you know. He ended up being the CEO of the Academy. He offered me a job. That was 5 years ago, and I've been consulting for them ever since. This is from this week. I just got back from there, had a great time. And again, it was a wonderful opportunity, but it's always been something on the side that I love doing. And that's because I love music. And I'm so excited to see so many of you here today. I see Chris Shannon from What Fest and musicians. Bob was on the stage earlier. All of us at the core have that together. And music is beautiful because there's not a person that doesn't like music. But I bet you're wondering, what does love for music, what does my loyalty to the state that I'm so proud to call home, to the university that I'm proud to graduate, what do those two have in common? What does my love for event planning, for bringing people together, for creating an experience after time of tragedy, after time of happiness? What does community service and giving back, what do those have in common? And for a long time, everybody told me absolutely nothing. You'll never find a way to put them together. And that was my greatest conundrum. How do you find the passion to follow when you have so many passions? Do I go for the music industry? Do I stay in Wyoming? Do I stay in higher ed? I couldn't decide because I felt like I loved them all and I loved them all equally. And then the Wyoming Arts Council came along and created this beautiful position called Community Development and Independent Music Specialist. And what it did is it combined arts and community and music, and it put it together in one in this great state that I am most proud to call home. And all of a sudden, all those pieces that I just mentioned came together into one amazing intersection of happiness that I get to do, and that is my job. I get to work with community members. I get to develop them. Wyoming is the first for many great places. We have Yellowstone, Devil's Tower, even the first woman governor, and now we're the first state with a position of my kind, which is amazing when you look at where we are, that Wyoming is leading the way with that. We also have a lot of challenges in Wyoming. We are spread out. We have less than 600,000 people. There's a lot of interstates and highways, and a lot of time out of the year, those roads are closed, especially in Laramie and recently. But it doesn't mean that we don't have a lot of great things, and that's what I've learned. We are full of talent. You've seen some of that wonderful talent here tonight. There's a lot of musicians in the room. All of you guys, it's all across the state. If we can just provide resources and access, we can make it happen. And then if we use it as a way to drive community, even if we are a boom or bust state, in those times of bust, which might be our current times, we can still come together and have livable communities, vibrant communities, and good lives. So what we've come up with is the Wyoming Independent Music Initiative, or WIMI for short, at the state. We love our acronyms. And our first pilot program is targeting the artistic excellency of bands. So we have 10 bands here in Laramie who are trying to help grow. Our second one is trying to reach statewide. We're partnering with Wyoming Public Radio and Wyoming Tourism to launch a CD this summer that showcases all of the talent in this state. It will be available in all the visitor centers, so not only people coming in can see that, but also people going out. And at the end of the day, what we know is music is powerful and it does a lot of things, but bringing people together is what music has always done best. So thank you.
Thank you, Danee. That was great. And I would like to apologize to the people of Kemmerer, Wyoming, for giving them an extra syllable in their name. I don't know why they wouldn't want it. An extra syllable comes in handy in the most unexpected times. Tonight's event is brought to you by the Wyoming Humanities Council, Gene Garrison. We were supposed to do a raffle.